People always say, never pick up strangers. I used to laugh at that. Thought it was just paranoia. I mean, what's the worst that could happen, right? I drive long distances for work, transporting goods from one city to another. My route that night was a lonely highway, slicing through a dense forest. No towns for miles, no phone signals. Just the endless road ahead and the hum of my truck's engine. It was around 11:45 p.m. when I saw him. A man stood by the side of the road, half soaked in the dim glow of my headlights. He wore a dark coat, the collar turned up to his ears. One arm was raised, thumb out. Classic hitchhiker pose. I hesitated for a second. Something about him felt off, but the rain was coming down hard, and it was freezing outside. Guilt nudged me. What if it was me out there? Desperate and cold, I slowed down and pulled over. He opened the door without a word and climbed in. "Thanks," he said, voice low and scratchy. "No problem," I replied, trying to sound casual. "Where you headed?" "Just down the road, not far," he murmured. I glanced at him. His face was pale, too pale, like he hadn't seen the sun in weeks. His hands, resting in his lap, looked bony, skin stretched tight over his knuckles. We drove in silence. The rain pelted the windshield, and the wipers squeaked back and forth like a heartbeat. Something about the way he stared straight ahead, unmoving, made my skin crawl. "So, you from around here?" I asked, trying to break the silence. He turned his head slowly toward me. "Used to be," I chuckled nervously. "Used to be, huh? Moved out?" "Something like that," he smiled then. Just barely. And for a moment, I could swear his teeth looked wrong. Too many of them. Or maybe it was just the shadows playing tricks. The GPS blinked out. No signal. I tapped it, but it stayed dark. "Great," I muttered. "Happens a lot out here?" He didn't answer. That's when I noticed the smell. Faint at first, like wet earth, mixed with something rotting. I checked the vents. Maybe something crawled in and died. But no, it was coming from him. I cleared my throat. "You okay, buddy? You smell like you've been through hell." He didn't respond, just stared. Suddenly he turned and pointed ahead. "Turn left. There's a shortcut." There was a narrow dirt road cutting through the woods. I'd never seen it before. I slowed down. "Doesn't look like much of a shortcut." "It is." His voice was sharper now, commanding. Something deep inside me screamed, "Don't go," but my hands turned the wheel anyway. We rolled down the path. The trees closed in around us. The headlights barely cut through the fog. Then I noticed it. Movement. Shadows between the trees. Shapes. Watching us. I blinked hard. "Do you see that?" I asked. He smiled again. "They're waiting." "Who's they?" Silence. The road twisted suddenly, and I slammed the brakes. A figure stood in the middle of the path. It looked like a man, except taller, with elongated arms hanging past its knees. Its head twitched unnaturally, jerking left and right. I turned to ask the hitchhiker what the hell was going on, but he was gone. Just gone. The passenger seat was empty. I stared, heart pounding, then looked back at the road. The thing was gone too. Cold sweat dripped down my back. I slammed the truck into reverse and backed up, tires spinning in the mud. But the road behind me had vanished. It was just trees now, dense, dark trees. The radio crackled to life. Static. Then a voice. My voice, repeating my own words from earlier. "Where you headed?" Then a distorted response. "Just down the road." I grabbed the radio and yanked the cord out. I was breathing hard, trying to make sense of any of it. Maybe I fell asleep at the wheel? Maybe I was dreaming? Then I saw the mirror. The rear view showed something sitting in the back seat. It was him, but not him. His skin was gray now, like old meat. His eyes were black pits. His jaw hung loose, grinning too wide. "You brought me home," he whispered. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. Then, the lights went out. I woke up hours later, Dawn had broken. I was still in the truck, parked on the highway shoulder. The shortcut road. Gone. No footprints. No signs of a passenger. I checked the dash cam. All it recorded was me, driving alone, talking to myself, laughing at nothing. I've replayed that footage 100 times. The camera never caught him, but I know he was there. I felt him. People still hitchhike on that stretch of road, and sometimes they never reach their destination. If you're ever driving down Route 66 after midnight and you see a man in a dark coat, thumb out. Don't stop. No matter how cold it is. No matter how guilty you feel. Because he's not looking for a ride. He's looking for you. Before we dive into the next story, if you're visiting our channel for the first time, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell icon to stay updated with our upcoming scary stories. Thanks. They say never pick up strangers on the road. I never planned to, but that night, something made me stop. It was past midnight. I was driving through a stretch of country highway in West Virginia. Trees thick on both sides, no street lights, no signs, and not a single other car for miles. My GPS had lost signal an hour ago, and I was going by instinct and an old paper map I found in the glove box. The rain had just stopped, but the fog had settled in, curling like ghostly fingers around the trees and crawling across the road. I had the window cracked open for some fresh air, though the damp made everything smell like wet leaves and something faintly sour like rot. That's when I saw her. She stood on the side of the road, half in shadow, soaked to the bone, her thumb out. A girl, maybe late teens, early 20s, long black hair stuck to her face, wearing a pale dress that looked way out of place in the cold night. Barefoot. Every alarm in my body went off. But I stopped. Why? I don't know. Maybe it was guilt, maybe curiosity, or maybe something else. Something I couldn't explain. She didn't say anything as she got in, just nodded and stared ahead. Water dripping onto the seat. I glanced at her. Her eyes were pale gray, unblinking. No thank you, no smile, just silence. Where you headed? I asked, trying to sound casual. North, she said, her voice barely louder than a whisper. There was no town for at least 30 miles that way. We drove in silence. I noticed the temperature dropping. I turned up the heat, but it didn't help. My breath misted in front of me, and hers didn't. That's when I started to feel uneasy. You from around here? I tried again. She turned to look at me, slowly. Not anymore. I forced a laugh. Running away? Number going back. I didn't know what to say to that. I focused on the road. My hands were sweating on the wheel, even though I was freezing. The fog grew thicker, wrapping around the car, and the trees seemed to lean closer. Then the radio turned on by itself. Just static at first. Then a voice came through. Faint, crackling. Don't let her... I turned it off quickly. The girl didn't react, just kept staring out the windshield. Did you hear that? I asked. She shook her head. But she smiled this time, barely. It wasn't comforting. I was beginning to think I'd made a big mistake. Then she spoke again. This road wasn't always here. I blinked. What do you mean? She pointed ahead. They built it over something. Something that should have been left buried. I didn't reply. The land remembers, she continued, her voice colder now. And it's hungry. I felt a chill crawl up my spine. I checked the rearview mirror. Nothing but fog. Suddenly the car thudded, like I'd hit something. I slammed the brakes. We skidded and stopped. What was that? I asked, heart pounding. She was gone. The seat beside me was empty, wet, but empty. I looked around wildly. The road behind me was empty. I opened the door, stepped out, calling, "Hello?" Hey, no answer. Then I looked at the ground. There were footprints, barefoot, small, leading away from the car. and into the trees. Without thinking, I followed them. My flashlight flickered as I stepped between the trees. The fog swallowed everything behind me. The footprints stopped at an old sunken patch of earth, like a shallow grave. Then I heard it. A voice, my own voice, whispering from behind me. "Why did you stop?" I turned, shining the light. She was there, but different. Her dress was torn, her skin pale, grey, almost translucent. Her eyes were black pits. Her mouth opened, wider than any human mouth should, and inside I saw nothing but darkness. I ran. Branches clawed at my face as I tore through the woods. I could hear her behind me, not running, but somehow keeping up, whispering, "You stopped. You stopped. You stopped." I burst out onto the road. My car was gone. Only fog and silence. And then, headlights. A truck appeared out of the mist, slowing beside me. An old man leaned out the window. "You all right, son?" I didn't hesitate. I climbed in, breathless. "I picked up a girl," I said. "She disappeared. Something's out there." He looked at me. Slowly. "What did she look like?" I told him. His face darkened. "You picked up Lila." I frowned. "Who?" "She died here, 20 years ago, hit by a truck, hitchhiking home after a party. Folks say she wanders this road still, looking for a ride." I stared at him. "I talked to her. She was real." He didn't say anything, just kept driving. Then I noticed the road behind us was gone. Just blackness swallowing the way we came, like we were being erased. I turned to the man. "Where are we going?" He didn't answer. I looked again. There was no driver. I was alone. The truck drove itself into the fog, and I realized something terrible. I never left the woods. I never hitchhiked before tonight, but my car broke down on Route 42, the kind of back road where cell service dies, and headlights are the only thing keeping the dark at bay. I walked for miles before seeing the glow of taillights ahead, a rusted pickup, idling on the shoulder. The driver's window rolled down as I approached. A man in a flannel shirt smiled, his teeth too white in the dashboard's green glow. "Need a lift?" I hesitated. The woods pressed in on both sides of the road, alive with the sound of things moving. Just beyond sight. "Yeah," I said. "Just to the next town." He nodded. "Hop in." The cab smelled like old leather and something sour beneath it. The radio played static, but he didn't turn it off. Just drove, humming under his breath. I glanced at him. His fingers tapped the wheel in a rhythm that didn't match the silence. "You come out here often?" I asked, just to fill the quiet. His smile didn't waver. "Oh, I know these roads real well." Something crunched under the tires. He didn't slow down. The trees thinned, and a crooked sign flashed by. "Briar Creek, 5 miles. I frowned. "That's not the way to..." "Shortcut," he said. The road narrowed. The pickup's headlights flickered, once, twice, then stayed on, casting long shadows that didn't move right. The trees here were twisted, their branches like grasping fingers. I gripped the door handle. "You can let me out here," he chuckled. "Ain't safe to walk." The radio static sharpened. A voice whispered through it, "Don't look at him." My breath hitched. The driver's hands were wrong. Too many knuckles. His reflection in the windshield wasn't smiling anymore. The truck sped up. I lunged for the door, but the lock clicked down. "Almost there," he said, voice wet. The headlights lit up a broken fence, a dirt path leading into the woods. Something pale moved between the trees, keeping pace with us. I smashed my elbow into the window. Glass shattered. Cold air rushed in as I hauled myself out, hitting the road shoulder hard. The truck screeched to a stop. I ran. Behind me, the engine revved. Tires spat gravel. I didn't look back. I don't know how long I ran before another car found me. A real one, with a family inside who called an ambulance. The cops searched Route 42. They never found the rusted pickup. But sometimes, when I'm driving at night, the radio static will rise. And if I listen too long, I hear the whisper again. "He's still looking for you."